Logical transits for the month of June 2026. We are switching it up just a little bit here. Instead of doing the weekly forecast and giving you the weekly transits, we're going to give you today, June 1st, 2026, the whole month of June when it comes to transits. Now we're going to do the key transits. There's so many things happening. The moon, moves every 2.5 days. So we're going to do the big things that are going to sort of be a little more transcendental and maybe make a bigger impact in your chart and in the way that you're going to be feeling into some of these trends. Okay, so we're going to get started. We may throw some of the weekly transits potentially if we get started on Instagram. I am not sure how that's going to go, but I encourage you to follow me there. That's Maril Solis Paz over at Instagram, because I may throw some of those there and I may even do daily. Who knows what we'll do? This is a whole experimental thing and we're just going as we're flowing. Okay, so here we go. June 2026 transits. We're going to start with today, June 1st. Mercury steps into Cancer, or has already stepped into Cancer this afternoon. So that is going to be because Mercury in the sign of Cancer is going to take one of its 3 annual retrogrades, which happen usually for 3 weeks. The sign moves forward, the sign moves back, the sign moves forward, the planet moves forward in the sign, the planet moves back in the sign, and the planet moves direct again and through the sign. So Mercury is going to stay in Cancer starting today through its direct and retrograde and direct phase again until about the 8th of August. What does this mean? Mercury is a sign of thoughts. It's a sign of communication. It's the sign of just a lot of movement. It's a planet that wants to see a lot of movement happening, especially with connection. Okay, and so in the sign of Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, and you'll know this if you have this in your chart natally, Mercury in Cancer wants to think about, communicate with, and connect with family. So maybe there's a lot of movement more in your home starting today when it comes to connecting with sisters, brothers, parents, kids, all that stuff. For example, today there was a gathering at my house. Everybody decided to stop by and play Rummikub, which we love to play. And so this was just like spontaneous out of nowhere, which is very, of course, very Mercury. Mercury is just like lightning fast. And this just happened. Everybody decided to just come in and show up. Some were already there and some just decided to show up. And we just had food, which is very Cancer, and we had family, which is very Cancer. So you may find kind of this theme as Mercury runs through its run to August 8th. And when it does the retrograde, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. It'll feel a little more internal, and maybe there's some things you need to question, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The next transit, okay, as you're feeling starting today, and this was a move from Mercury as of yesterday or even early this morning. Mercury was in the sign before, which is the sign that it rules, Mercury in Gemini. Now that felt very sharp, very witty, very quick thinking, a lot of ideas, and now we're stepping into sort of a theme of emotional intelligence, connecting with people from a heart center, connecting with people from the feeling and emotion and that home, that heart, that instinct to nurture, that instinct to protect, that instinct to connect with people that we really, really love and care about. And we want to care for them. So Mercury is thinking about these things. Mercury is connecting with other people on these things. And that's where you're going to feel through August 8th. Okay. So on the 14th, we're going to have, of course, a new moon. We just had yesterday the full moon. So of course it's perfect that we have in about 2 weeks the next cycle, which is the new moon. New moon in Gemini, 24 degrees. I always give you the degrees so that you can check this in your chart, see which area of your life, meaning which house it's going to fall in. So wherever you have 24 degrees Gemini, that's where you're going to have both the sun and the moon, because the new moon is sun and moon in the same sign. And this is energy that is very, I would say, it wants to communicate. It wants to talk. Again, Mercury, which is the planet that rules Gemini, wants to connect. Okay. Actually, I have a goddaughter, one of my many godchildren that I absolutely love, and she is born as a sun in Gemini with a moon in Gemini, and it's going to be her birthday pretty soon. And so By the way, I'll tell you as an astrologer what I've noticed that most people think that their birthday, and if you'll notice this a ton with kids, that their birthday is on the day that they were born, but the shift in a cycle for you in the year, the sort of almost truer birthday is whenever you have the sun to moon configuration that you had in your birth. So, for example, my goddaughter, her birthday is on June 4th, but the configuration in which she was born happens to take place on June 14th. So that is when you will see, that's when I'll see, and I've seen this with my other godchildren as they've grown up, is you'll see the shift in a kiddo at that time. So if you have kids, which I love doing charts for, I do a ton of parent children chart. Um, you'll see that the shift in the kiddo, the biggest growth, the biggest turn in their personality is going to happen not exactly on their birth date, but on the day of, which is very close to their birth date, when the sun and the moon are in the same exact signs in which your kiddo was born. So check their chart and you will thank me because you are going to know that this is so the case. Okay. You could always have your kiddo and your charts synastry done so we can take a look and see how you can most empower your kiddos. I love doing that kind of stuff. Okay. So New Moon in Gemini, we're going to be planting seeds that we want to germinate in our mind. So we want to maybe think about new beliefs. We want to maybe get rid of beliefs that we don't want to have anymore. The things that are not going to go and carry us into the next 6 months of our lives. And the things that we do want to carry us into for this next 6 months of our lives, we want to plant those seeds, okay? Especially when it comes to friendships. Gemini is a sign of connection. You may have noticed right now that we're in Gemini season that you are uh, connecting with a lot of people. People are coming out of nowhere. That at least has been happening. Oh my goodness. I even got invited to a concert the other day out of nowhere. Hey, here's some tickets for a concert with somebody that I hadn't talked to in a very, very long time because another friend of mine, who is a Gemini, was in town, connected with someone else. That person invited us. It's just like a lot of networking, a lot of networking. And these are not going to be maybe deep dives because Gemini is not a sign of deep dives. Gemini is a sign of touch points. And you'll know this if you're a Gemini or you have a moon in Gemini or ascendant in Gemini, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point is what you want. You want that data. You want that info. You want that bit, that byte. Okay. This is your news bit. And so instead of a monthly forecast, you're like, what's the daily? Give me the run, the play by play. That's what it is. Okay. So this new moon in Gemini on the 14th at 24th degrees, there's going to be more of a desire to want to see where we want to connect with other people. And you have the opportunity to plant those seeds. It's the sun in Gemini right now is saying, hey, it's time to connect. It's time to get out of all this. Maybe you work remotely. Maybe the pandemic gave you habits of being more at home. Maybe you're more introverted or empathic or highly sensitive. If you haven't seen my highly sensitive people video, you can watch that and you can see, how to sort of manage that and what I suggest for you to connect with people more on. Being a highly sensitive person myself, I have a ton of of experience with that when it comes to how highly sensitive people connect to people and what works best. And so this new moon in Gemini is going to ask you to be like, okay, well, where do I want to connect? How do I want to connect? What are these touch points? Who are these people I want to connect with? Plant those seeds and then carry out those plans. Okay, that is on the 14th. On the 19th, we have something tremendous happening. June 19th, Chiron is going to step out of Aries and it's going to step into Taurus. This is huge. Now, this is something that's going to happen. It's going to step out of Aries where it's been for a while. Okay. And it's going to step into Taurus, but only for a little bit because then it's going to retrograde back into Aries and then it's going to step back into Taurus and then forever stay in Taurus for a while, not forever, but for a while. So we have a dip into Taurus. Chiron's going to dip into Taurus this 19th of June, and it's going to stay there until mid-September. Then it's going to come back into Aries, and it's going to then go back into Taurus next year. Okay, so Why is this a big deal? Okay, Chiron takes a while to go through the signs. If you were born, and I have some dates here for you, if you were born between April 1968 and March 1977, and you're like in your, late 40s, early 50s, you have a Chiron return. It's your Chiron return time. Right around this time, either you already had it in the last couple of years, or you are having it this year, my case, or you are about to have it. Now, what happens when you have a Chiron return? You have that big question, which is, hey, are you have you healed the stuff you came kind of your existential wound that you came to heal? Did you find that medicine? Do you have that medicine to share with other people? That is what Chiron really wants you to work on and is asking for. So those of us born in between April 1968 and March 1997, and if you have kids or no kids born between April 2018 and April 2027, so up until next year, right? Um, those kiddos who are maybe like either in the womb cooking right now or are anywhere between that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 years old, those kiddos also have this energy and they're having you maybe start to see some of the potential existential wound that they came to heal as a soul. But those of us who are in the later years in our return, we're actually really testing for it. So if you're in your late 40s, if you're in your early 50s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That Chiron in Aries, which is what we're about to leave and step into Chiron in Taurus, that is your who am I wound. When we step into Chiron in Taurus, those kiddos that are going to be born in after June 19th of this year until September, and then maybe after April, those that are going to have Chiron in Taurus, that's going to be the wound of what am I worth? It's a self-worth wound. It's a value wound. The Chiron in Aries, which is us, those generations right now that are, like I said, in our 49, 50, 51, or the kiddos that are kind of born, in the past 8 years or so, those are going to be the Chiron and Aries, who am I wound. Always asking, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? All right. So this is an interesting thing because if you're having your Chiron return, if you're in your late 40s, early 50s, and you have Chiron and Aries in your chart, this is huge energy to look into because especially if you have late degrees Aries, you're being hit right now with that question. Who am I? And you've probably been asking yourself that question for a very long time. Okay. And as a collective, we have been re-questioning and questioning and questioning who we are as a collective and individually as well. And so this is both an us and a me when it comes to those people born in the years that I said issue. Okay. As a collective, it's going to shift June 19th into, okay, not just who am I, but what is my worth? What is my value? Self-esteem stuff. Okay, that's a next step. It's not a core essence of who am I. It's okay, now that I know who I am, what am I worth? What am I worth in the world? What's my intrinsic value? Where does that come from? Hmm? So if you have Chiron in Taurus and you look in your chart and you'll get to see if that is the case, you're going to be stepping into your return next. And having just had my return, I'll tell you, it's a huge, it feels like a breakthrough. It's like you're quickening. It's like, this is the thing that I've been waiting for kind of deal. It's no wonder that they say that after 50s, you're, ready to contribute to society because you have decided that this is the thing and you've been through A, B, and C, and now a lot of changes have happened and you're kind of more grounded in who you are and what you came to bring to the world. So, Chiron and Taurus people, uh, you're about to have a really interesting moment. Okay, perfect time to have your chart read as well. And as a collective, all of us, starting with Chiron and Taurus, we're going to have to ask ourselves what's really of value to us in the era of AI, right? So with Pluto in Aquarius, with Uranus in Gemini, in the middle of the era of AI, what do we really value? Do we value personal connection? Do we value human connection? Do we value speed and accessibility through AI? Do we value truth and accuracy and precision? Or do we value just information for the sake of information? A lot of things to question. We're going to be asking these questions for many years because this is a time of change. And when it's a time of change, we're going to be asking ourselves many, many deep questions. Values is one of those biggest things because people connect through value, through what they value. Okay. And this is also how you find your tribe. So a huge thing. Next transit I have for you on the 21st, of course, we have the annual solstice. What does this mean? That, all the full moons, new moons are portals, but the bigger portals are the eclipses, of course, but also the solstices and the equinoxes. And this is for the northern hemisphere, summer solstice; for the southern hemisphere, your winter solstice. And this is when the sun enters Cancer and the beginning of Cancer season. So this is going to be felt also as a softening as we step into more home and family Cancer. In the United States, for example, we're stepping into our nation's home sign of Cancer. This is United States is July 4th, Independence Day is a Cancer country, and we all get together with family and we celebrate on July 4th, independence, and eat food and play games and do such things. And so this is your opportunity to really get back in touch with your family, to really reconnect with family, to maybe have big conversations with your mom if you need to heal something with her, maybe reconnect with her, see what she actually needs in terms of, connection from you. This is where we're stepping into sort of softer, nurturing energy. We have to really dive deep into self-care. I think it's really interesting. A lot of people go into detoxes and, cleanses and stuff in this season because it's bathing suit season up in the northern hemisphere, but really what's behind that and what's underneath all of that is a sort of deeper need to self-care, because as we come off of the winter months and the colder spring months, even though we didn't have a heavy winter here in the United States, we want to shed whatever no longer wants to protect us. And we want to step into more of a free and flowy, which is very Cancer, right? Flow, energy of sign of water, that type of stuff. And in order to do that, we need to just like offload a lot of things. Okay. So great time to do a detox, great time to look into the kind of food that you put in your body. Cancer wants to nurture and protect. Sometimes it overeats. You can indulge, but you should also try to eat from a place of nurturing rather than a place of emotional escape or stress. Okay. 28th, Mars steps into Gemini. So Mars in Gemini, gosh, Sun in Cancer with Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini is is a little bit of chaotic energy. Okay. If you have Mars and Gemini in your chart, you probably have a little bit of ADHD, shiny object syndrome. You're running around trying to multitask. The truth of the matter is multitasking is not very effective. So if that's your modus, your typical modus operandus, you are not, you're probably not very focused and very effective. That is how this energy is going to feel. So Mars in Gemini is going to feel a little scattered, a little distracted, but a lot of energy to, again, connect, because that's what Gemini wants to do. So maybe this is you not just thinking about and talking to, but actually putting pedal to the metal on connecting with the people that you want to really talk to and really flirt with and really have a good time with and really play with in your social circle, or new people. Okay, so this is Mars in Gemini, is going to be staying until August 10th. Mars is going to stay in Gemini from the 28th of June until the 10th of August. This is just fun energy. If you have Mars and Gemini in your chart, you probably yes, you might be a little scattered and maybe, you are a little distracted and ADHD, but you're probably also a ton of fun. So get out there and hang out with your friends, play the games. Board games are my favorite, so play those or play sports. Just have a good time and connect with your people. Okay. 28th is the full moon in Capricorn. Of course, we know the full moon is the sun is in Cancer, right? One sign, and then the moon is in its opposite sign, Capricorn, 8th degree. So wherever you have 8 degrees of Capricorn, that's where the moon will be in your chart. And of course, 8 degrees of Cancer is where the sun will be. So you want to look at that axis and see what's activated. During a full moon, of course, we are going to have enlightenment. We're going to have results. We're going to be able to have enough know-how and knowledge to be able to just see the thing we weren't seeing before. Okay, so sometimes things tend to come out that we didn't really know that were there, and that's okay because we're in smack in the middle of Pluto retrograding, and Pluto retrograding is shadow work season, and that's going to happen until October 16th of this year. So we're smack in the middle of triggers and things coming out of the subconscious mind, of the collective unconscious. So when you have your full moon in Capricorn, you've got Cancer sun, very feeling emotional, home, family, nurturing. And you've got the moon in Capricorn. Moon in Capricorn wants order, it wants usefulness, utility, it wants things to be organized, things to be sort of built step by step. And so you have this a little bit of a clash of emotion nurturing mom stuff, and you've got like the building authoritative organizational. Is this really useful? Do we need it, or do we need to clean it out and completely just get rid of it? Father Capricornian energy. That sort of energy is usually touches on themes also that have to do with career versus home and the balance between these two. And if these fall in your 4th and 10th, or your 2nd and 8th houses, you're probably going to be looking at some of your career themes and choices, how you're balancing your time when it comes to work versus everything else. What your money stuff is, is it where it's supposed to be? Do you need to sort of maybe see things that you hadn't seen before when it comes to your finances, etc. Okay. That same day, this is such an interesting day on the 29th. So many things are happening. It's not just a full moon, but it's also Mercury starting its retrograde in Cancer. So we're looking at this full moon and it wants to show us stuff, but as Mercury begins to retrograde in Cancer, which is the sign that the sun is in, okay, and it's going to stay there until July 23rd, because it's usually about 3 weeks, you're going to start to feel like, okay, well, there are some things that I see, and usually they're related to career or father or, authority figure or things like that because it's Capricorn. But really, I have to take a look at my own home, family, childhood, mother, internal childhood beliefs, roots, inner child stuff, and tap into that to see where that is going to be projecting into my work, into how I deal with authority figures, into how I, connect with people at work, all that stuff. Okay. At the same time, Jupiter is going to be stepping out of Cancer and stepping into Leo that same day. What does this mean? Because Jupiter moves, of course, it's a further planet than your personal planet, is what we call the social planets, Jupiter and Saturn. And so it's going to stay in Leo for about a year, just like it's been in Cancer for about a year. And when this happens, wherever Jupiter in Leo falls in your natal chart, it's going to activate expansion into creativity, into wanting to show up, into visibility, into wanting to have more fun, into wanting to just show up with love everywhere, into wanting to lead, into wanting to expand, shine your light wherever you can. Okay. So Jupiter coming out of Cancer, which is a sign that really seeks to expand, but to expand in an emotional sort of subtle way. It's going to feel like a very big shift. And this is probably the biggest of all of these, if not maybe the Chiron, because it's going into Taurus, but then coming back and such. This is the biggest transit, I think, out of all of them. And the doozy that I'm going to leave you with for June of 2026. Jupiter and Leo, look that one up in your chart. Look up where this is going to be in your chart for a whole year. Okay, because so you were looking at 0 degrees Leo, of course. This is when Jupiter starts its transit in Leo. Wherever you have 0 degrees Leo, and then the whole year transit through the Leo, that's where you're going to be feeling that you want to expand, where you're going to be feeling that you're going to need to grow, that you're going to need to break out of, any limits that you may have set for yourself or not even going to count anymore. It's going to feel like you want to just grow out of any cocoon you may have put yourself into and be hiding in. And you're going to break out of that shell and you're going to break out into the world. If you have this in your 10th house, it's going to feel fantastic when it comes to presentations and promotions and all that stuff that work calls for you to step into as a bigger persona in the company, especially if you're a CEO, especially if you're a founder or an owner, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur. If you have Jupiter and Leo maybe I should do a Jupiter and Leo by house. I will do that. If you have it in the 5th house, oh my goodness, this is going to be an explosion of creativity. Creative juices will be flowing. Write that book, write that screenplay, write that song, just do the painting, paint the house if you want to, whatever it is, express yourself and your creativity because Jupiter and Leo is here for it 100%. Okay. So I'll do one house by house so that you can see how Jupiter in Leo is going to play out for you according to where it's going to be falling in your natal chart. That's what I have for you for June 2026 transits. I hope that you keep this in mind. These are the big ones. Of course, we know the moon moves every 2.5 days. And so it's the cosmic clock is always making aspects, moving, making different connections. And you're going to be feeling a lot of different things, but these are the biggies. These are your biggies to keep in mind this month, and we're going to be diving deeper into some of these as the month progresses. Okay, if you have any requests for any of these, like of course Mercury retrogrades are always a big one. I'll do Jupiter and Leo by the houses, but any of these other ones, let me know, and I will make those deep dive videos so that you can look at all this stuff in your chart and really, really use this tool of astrology to help you understand yourself so much more, which of course is know myself better, understand myself better, love myself better, love myself more acceptance, more compassion, and then just a beautiful life. All right. I'm Maril Solis Paz. You can always just book your session to do a chart reading. It's a synastry reading, transit reading, solar return, or any other astrology, astrocartography that you may need in order to use this beautiful tool to improve your life. I've been doing astrology for about 34 years, almost 35 years. And gosh, it never ceases to surprise me. No matter how much I want to be like, let's see. It never ceases to surprise me and how much it can help us feel so much better about who we are, why we're here, our purpose, what are we doing as human beings, spirits having a human experience. Your soul definitely chose this. Your soul chose a particular design for a reason, for a purpose. And once you know what that is, once you understand what you have to work with, your toolkit, also some of the caveats, life just really shifts for you. So I'd be happy to be that guide for you in this translation of this map for you if you don't do it yourself. And so book a session and we will meet and really get to know you on the deepest level, on the soul level, and put you on the path that you're meant to be on. Okay? Until then, I will see you in the next video, and I'm sending you all the love.